George of the jungle, strong as he can be.
Hey, welcome to Half the Battle. Next week, main character May begins, which I assure you is gonna be big.
This did make me look back at last year's edition featuring Sergeant Slaughter. And there's a question I still have about him. Why wasn't he in the Rise of Cobra movie? Well, the answer I found online was that Hasbro couldn't make a G.I.Joe figure of him since his likeness was licensed for wrestling toys at the time, so there was no profit in it.
Yeah, screw nostalgia, right?
This didn't mean that the movie didn't feature a drill instructor though. They just created a whole new character, which brings us to today's subject. So meet Sergeant Stone. This figure was released in 2009 with some original body parts.
Kinda.
Yeah, while they did make a whole bunch of new molds for the movie toy line, Hasbro being Hasbro also reused parts for various figures that year. They also reused 25th anniversary parts. In this case, Sergeant Stone shared some parts with Zartan, though he has an original head, arms and waist. The first thing to note is that in the movie he was played by Brendan Fraser. This figure does not look like Brendan Fraser.
There's a reason for that.
While the main cast had contracts that gave Hasbro their likeness rights to make action figures based on their characters, Fraser just had a cameo, which means he had a different contract. Anyway, the figure itself is fine, if pretty generic. Of course, that was very much the aesthetic of the movie Joes.
So I can't really fault it for that.
Also, with his whole black shirt and beret look, he would have made a pretty decent Rise of Cobra Flint. I'm not entirely sure that wasn't the idea before the cameo happened. And he does have that vest to help him look a little bit distinct. When it comes to articulation, he's got most of the standard G.I.Joe moving parts, plus movement in the wrist and feet, plus double jointed knees. One minor problem is that although the head is on a ball joint, it is so compact that the head can only move side to side, not up and down.
The detailing is fine.
The head sculpt is very well done, and there's a nice camo pattern on his pants. The best parts are the insignias on his arm and beret. That's some impressive detail. I'm not gonna discuss his accessories much. He came with guns, a knife, and a missile launcher, all stuff that other figures of the line also came with.
Though why a drill instructor needs a missile launcher, I'll never know.
You can take G.I. Joe out of the 90s, but not the 90s out of G.I. Joe, it seems. His vest is also technically an accessory, but it's such a pain in the ass to remove, it's not worth bothering with. Overall, it's a pretty good figure, but it just doesn't wow me, you know? It's fine on my shelf, but honestly, I had forgotten I even had it. Hell, I had to double check this wasn't my Hawk figure from that movie.
Sergeant Stone got one additional figure, in the same year no less.
It was part of a Toys R Us exclusive senior ranking officer set. It's a slight recolor of this one. I'll have to talk about that set in a future video for a variety of reasons, including the fact all of them are NCOs, not senior ranking.
With that, it's time to talk about the character, starting with the file card.
And I don't think this is gonna take long, because Rise of Cobra file cards were quite short. His real name is Jeffrey Stone IV.
Wait, his real name is Stone? It's not a code name?
That's fairly unique in the history of the toy line. I can't think of any other Joe just offhand, and the only other characters that come to mind are Major Blood and Tomax and Zaymat. And I guess Serpentor if you want to count that. Kinda weird that the bad guys are more likely to use their real names than the good guys.
There's one more thing about the name.
At first I thought it might have been an homage to DC's Sergeant Rock, or they lost the rights to the name Flint, but it's far more likely he's named after another G.I. Joe called Stone. Two, in fact.
Oh no, not from a real American hero.
One was a Lieutenant Stone from the G.I. Joe Extreme line, a well-received, hugely popular, and critically lauded follow-up to the Real American Hero line.
That last sentence may have just contained a smidge of sarcasm.
The other was from G.I. Joe Sigma 6, which was a toy line that sure existed. Both were not the same character as this one, obviously. Anyway, he's the Special Operations Instructor who trains the Joes in basically everything.
No, really, it's quite the list.
Combat tactics, marksmanship, survival, and other commando skills.
Damn, does he teach cooking and how to play the violin too?
The last thing the card says is that he defends the pit when it's attacked by Cobra, even though we never see him do that in the movie. Like I mentioned, his appearance was a cameo. It was so short, I think I can show you all of it without even tripping YouTube's content ID.
Let's give it a shot.
Yo, Sergeant Stone.
Are they Joes?
Hell no. They're jokes.
Yeah.
Again.
Oh, you're gonna need that helmet. Stand down, Snake Eyes. All right, walk away. It's over. It's that pay-per-view.
Again. They're Joe. Maybe.
There, that was everything we saw of Sergeant Stone in the movie.
Hey look, the video is still up. It didn't get blocked for copyright violations. So yeah, it really was that short.
Now, as to why Brendan Fraser did this cameo, well, that's pretty simple, really. The director, Stephen Sommers, also directed the Mummy movies starring Fraser, so it was just some fun between friends. And hey, I was happy to see him show up.
Also, dude had a rough decade after that.
Due to doing a lot of his own stunts, he needed a lot of surgery and couldn't do action roles anymore. Plus, he was blacklisted for exposing a sexual predator well before Me Too, so I was very happy to see him turn up in Doom Patrol, where he's doing a great job these days. And that's pretty much it. In the few years since the movie, Sergeant Stone has not gotten any more exposure or new toys, so...
Wait. Rise of Cobra was 13 years ago? Damn, I need to go lie down.
So that was Sergeant Stone, a pretty good, though unremarkable figure, where the most interesting things come from his name and movie appearance. Just for that, it would make a cool addition to any collection.
Tune in next week when we begin Main Character May. Well, I'll see you next time, everybody. And hey, why not like, share, and subscribe if that's your thing?
George of the jungle, strong as he can be.